gorgeous, fabulous guest. Her name is Sierra Goodman, and she is the author, again, as I said, of her soon to be released book, From Paralegal to Paradise: How I Created the Life of My Dreams and Lost 170 Pounds. This book tells her story of learning about and using the law of attraction to create the life of her dreams. And it talks about what happened when she stopped consciously creating her life and finally, what did I write? When she started consciously creating her life and she started to finally lose the weight she had been fighting her whole life. She's also developed an interactive website, which is at, if you guys want to check while we're chatting with her, www.iam-im-im.com. Love that site, where you can learn more about the law of attraction. You can share your own divine moments with others and get helpful suggestions for your manifestation lists and so forth. And you can check out the pictures for yourself of her before and after. Telling you, she's rocking. So we're going to bring out Miss Sierra Goodman, calling in from Costa Rica, mind you.
Wow.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, fabulous.
Hey, sweetheart. How you doing?
How are you?
Good. Can you hear me good?
Can hear you wonderful.
Okay, great.
Hi, Sierra.
Hi.
That's Diana.
Hi, Diana.
Hi, Sierra. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I've been enjoying your blue room very much.
Nice.
You know what's in the blue room?
Yes,
That's
please tell us.
where all our stuff is. That everything that's in our vibrational escrow is there in your blue room. So I've been visiting all my stuff. And it's been good. Thanks for that. That's great. That's a little visit with my stuff right there in your blue room.
Girl, I had an epiphany about the vibrational escrow, but I'll tell you about that after we talk to you a little bit today. You know, I have epiphanies all the time, but, you know, aha moments, epiphanies, awakening.
Right?
So, Miss Sierra, you first learned about law of attraction, you said, in 1992, which, you know, to some of us, that probably is ancient because, you know, some people have just heard about the law of attraction like yesterday. But we know that it's really an old, it's been with us since we've been on the planet. But
and
you
before.
learned, yes, you learned about this from a woman named Marilyn Umbach.
Right.
So tell us about that.
Okay, sure. You know, I always had a certain attitude of getting what I wanted, and I really wanted to explore that. And you know, when I wanted to research your show a little bit and get the feel of it, I went to your website, and the one episode I was attracted to was Ford, who did the book Becoming God. And
yes.
Great episode.
I had, you know, I was attracted to it. That's what I downloaded, and I was so glad that was the one to listen to. And I had a really similar experience to him. I mean, I was never a card-carrying atheist, but I definitely went through a period of questioning, you know, like, is there a God? Why are we here? What's going on? There's got to be more than this. Because I always had a feeling of, like, something's coming, it's better. And I was just in that state of asking and was led to Maryland by a friend of mine. And at that time, I think it's actually Esther and Abraham that really made popular the actual term law of attraction, because Marilyn called it the law of love or the law of good or the law of divine right. I learned it under a totally different name, but it's the same exact thing, that you can create your life, that you are in control and you are a divine being. And it's not just fate and go, follow along. And she really gave me the basics at this first meeting with her. And at the time, what I wanted to do was move up to Northern California. I lived in Southern California at the time. So she helped me to make a list of everything I wanted in a house. And I made my list and went up north. And to make a long story short, ended up finding the perfect house on a street called Blessing Lane, you know,
nice.
and I was just like, okay, there's a God, you know, because I was asking for proof. I was asking, is there a God? Do I control my life? Here's my list, you know, and I end up in like everything I wanted and more on a house on Blessing Lane, like, you know, hello, there's a God, you know, so it just was an incredible moment for me, and really started me on this whole path of discovery. And, you know, I can't really talk about the weight loss without talking about the path that got me there, because it's been an incredible, you know, it's been a journey. It's been a journey of discovery. And, you know, things happened along the way that got me to where I am. You know, once I was up north, something that happened is I broke my ankle. Because, you know, I got up north, and sometimes when you have a big manifestation like that, you're like, okay, that's it. You know, like, wow, I did it. And you just kind of settle in and become complacent and kind of stop expanding, you know. And when you do that, you know, it's all about expanding. You know, you continue it. You're never done, right? So when you get into that complacent thing, something's going to happen. And what happened is I ended up breaking my ankle, which is a story I talk about in my book. And that led me to a whole new spiritual path. That's when my cat talked to me. That's when I read all these books that took me on this whole different journey that finally allowed me, when I got this postcard to swim with, you know, swim with dolphins thing, I was like, that's my next step. And I said, universe, if I'm supposed to go on this trip, send me the money. And I go to work the next day, and I got a $500 bonus that I wasn't expecting, you know, a Christmas bonus, because I hadn't been there that long. I really didn't think they were going to give it to me. And, you know, the universe talks to you. You know, the messages are always there to guide you along your path if you're listening. You know, it's not hard. It's really easy if you listen to the messages. You'll always be guided right along the way. So I go on this trip, and I get in the water with the dolphins for the first time, and that was like the first time that I really felt like I was at home, like whoa, you know. And I got out of the water, and I just cried this release, this you know. I just knew that, okay, that's my next path. And you know, I just kind of let things flow. A captain called me and said, hey, let's do some trips. And I gave my work a 6-month notice, saying, you know, in May I've got, you know, 6 weeks of dolphin trips planned. I don't know what I'm going to do after that, but, you know. And that night this captain calls me and says, hey, why don't you come be my assistant? You know, when can you come? So the day I had given 6 months notice, I go in the next day and I go, I'm giving you 2 weeks notice or less. I'm out of here. Because, you know, it was that moment, it's allowing. You know, it's like knowing your path, and when you allow, it just flows, you know.
That was a new job too, right?
Right. So I, you know, gave 2 week notice. I packed up a U-Haul truck, and I drove across the country to Florida, and I started doing dolphin swim trips in the Bahamas, living out of Florida. And within a couple months, went to Costa Rica with a friend for a vacation, which has always called to me since I was young. You know, I've made many statements about Costa Rica, and I want to live where there's a mango tree out my window, and it's always called to me. And I came, and some magical things happened during that trip, including running into this lady on the way back to Florida in the tram for migration. She says, I have a shirt on that says Save the Dolphins. She says, do you like dolphins? Yeah. I, you know, take people to swim with dolphins in the Bahamas. She says, oh, well, I'm the president of the Dolphin Foundation of Costa Rica.
Get out.
You know, here's my card. You know, and then it just, everything after that just flowed. I mean, to make a really long story short, I end up finding this incredible property in the most biologically intense place on earth, and somehow the money appeared that I didn't have, but you know, it just flowed. It just flowed, and I ended up coming here. And, you know, I haven't really mentioned my weight through all this, but, you know, during that time,
that's all right.
It went up and down, you know. And when I got here, I was actually thin. When I was in Florida, I was thin. And I got here and started doing dolphin tours and developed a hotel and eco lodge, and it just, everything flowed. It's easy when you're following the signs and following your path, and that's when things flow. And everything is great, but I started to put on weight because I wasn't, after a while, a hotel wasn't really my path. And why I eat a lot of times is when I shove down my feelings and don't express myself. And, that started happening a lot. And people wanted to chat with me all day long. And people who have seen my writings probably think I'm a really big talker, but I'm actually not. I'm actually kind of quiet in person because I'm not into blah, 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 you know what I mean? And people that come to a hotel, they want to sit down and they want to chat and they want to tell me about their kids and they want to tell me everything that's wrong with their life and how did you get here? And, I have to tell my story a million times. And for me, it started to lose its magic when I just had to keep telling it and telling it and telling it, you know what I mean? So It just, after a while, I was putting on weight and I kind of lost, I was living in paradise. I would accomplished my dream. And I just kind of, like I said earlier, you get complacent and you go, okay, that's it. Now I just live it out. and after a while you go, no, there's something more. And finally, my big reason for not wanting to close the hotel earlier was my foundation. I had developed a nonprofit foundation to protect the dolphins and whales of this area. And the foundation was supported by my hotel. We didn't get funds from, anything other than me taking money that I was making off the hotel and paying the salaries of the foundation people. And so that was my big thing. And I just, I had lost all this weight finally. I need to tell you what happened. So the weight thing. What happened is I was probably at my heaviest, like really, really heavy, and just not in the flow. I live in paradise, but that's not everything. You still have to be happy and flowing. And I slipped and fell in my bathroom, and I hit my face really hard. And for me, it was just a wake-up call because the last time when I had broken my ankle was another, I just go, what does this mean? And the thing is, you don't have to hurt yourself to get these big realizations. But if you're not listening to the signs and messages, some big manifestation is going to happen like that. It's always been
that happened
before, but
that happened to me.
Yeah, I mean,
because I was trying to figure out when to quit a job, and I was looking at the calendar, and I was going, okay, if I quit this week, I won't get paid that, so let me wait and try. You know what happened? A mouse ran across my desk as I was trying to figure out when I was going to quit this crazy wicky-wacky job, and crazy me stood on the chair screaming because the mouse was walking across my desk. I stood up on the chair. The chair has wheels, and I went flying.
Right.
Back out. Next day, I'm not at work. I was out of work for 6 months. Oh, yeah. So sometimes the universe or sometimes your own craziness will, take you out. So it's better to do it earlier.
Right. Well, for sure. It's better to do it earlier, but sometimes that's what it takes, a big,
that's what it took.
Painful manifestation, And so, and I said, okay, I know how to manifest. I've created, I live in the most beautiful place imaginable. I'm off my path, because when you're on your path because things are flowing and they weren't flowing. I was struggling and stressed and not happy. So when that happened in the bathroom, I was like, okay, thank you. And the next day I booked a trip to go to the Bahamas to swim with the original dolphins that started my whole dolphin journey, because I knew I just needed to change my scenery, and there was something I was supposed to get. So I go on this trip, and I'm not one to sleep during the day. I'm a morning person, all that. But during this trip, I found myself napping a lot. And one day, in the middle of the day, I go to my room and I doze off, and this dolphin comes to me in my dream or in the water, and he just faces me straight on and came at me so fast and hit me with his beak in my chest so hard that it sent me somersaulting back. And it was so real, and I felt like it was a heart opening. It was like it was a message. And like 10 minutes later, I hear the call, okay, guys, there's dolphins. You guys want to come? And I knew. I said, if that was real, I'm going to get in the water, and I'm going to see that dolphin right now. And I did. In fact, that picture I sent you with the Abraham Lincoln saying on it,
Yes.
that's that dolphin. And it was it was the start of the next part. That was my weight loss journey right there. Because one of the things that happened is I got back and someone sent me a picture from that trip. And when I saw it, what didn't shock me was my big black eye and bruised face from falling. It was my body. Because, you're overweight. When you're overweight, you're overweight, but you don't really know how overweight, because I was still me inside. And, I avoided mirrors, and I just didn't realize. And that was one of those shocking moments. I was like, whoa, girl, and that dolphin, and it just, I got home, and I was like, okay, I'm dealing with this. I'm going to deal with this. And I wrote in my journal something like, God, I need help. Please guide me to the right, foods, weight plan, things, and feelings and thoughts, and, give me what I need to do this, because I have to do it. And several things happened. I was completely attracted to green tea. It just kept coming up, signs, messages, the green tea. So I ended up ordering this Japanese green tea. I was, I've been a vegetarian for years, just started eating fish when I got here because it's fresh, yummy fish from a clean ocean. And, I just fell into the plan that was right for me, and that's how my book's going to be different as a way, I'm not going to give you like, this is the right plan, this is the right exercise, this is that. What I want to do is inspire people to find what's right for them and what works for them, and I'm going to share my path and everything that happened for me, but even more, I want people to learn to listen to their own inner guidance. And, like, for them to ask God, okay, what's right for me? Not go, okay, Sierra, did this, that must be right. I want people, what I really want to do with this book is to inspire people to follow their path and their divine path. And, one of the things I decided is that I really needed to deal with the issues of why I ate, why I overate. And one of them was stuffing down my feelings and not dealing with, not being who I am,
Right.
That's a big one, is to, not to stuff things down, and it's an avoidance thing. And what I needed to do was change the balance of it being better for me to be thin than to be fat, and let go of the reasons and the emotions I had around being overweight. Because obviously it was beneficial to me in some way, or I wouldn't be doing it. There were reasons why. So I just really, really dealt with that. And it was about that time that The Secret came out too, maybe a little bit after that. Because what happened is, I lost all the weight, and then this whole thing happened with the hotel. And once I got thin and really got that part of my life in line, I realized, I can't deal with this hotel anymore. Like, if I'm being who I am and following my path, I've got to close. This isn't making me happy. And like I said earlier, my worry was the foundation. So I went down to the beach. I said, God, if I'm supposed to close this hotel and the foundation's going to be okay, I want to see humpback whale. And, it's not like I'm asking for something really strange, because there are humpback whales here. But this was the lowest season, and where I was called to sit on the beach was facing the bay, which they're hardly there. And I sit down, and within a minute, I see the blow, humpback whale. He comes, like, right towards me, swims past, and I was like, okay. Because I asked for signs, and they come, And that's how you know. Your inner guidance. There's always those messages for you there if you're looking for them. And dolphins and whales always talk to me that way, and animals in general. In fact, for me, the messages that we get from Abraham through Esther, I got so many of those from the dolphins and whales. Like, life is to be joyful, and don't do anything that doesn't bring you joy, and don't care about what other people think. And some of the real major messages of Abraham I had gotten from the dolphins. And because messages from source are messages from source, no matter who the messenger.
Oh.
So now I always I tease that for me the whales are like the big keepers of the information and the so close to source. And the dolphins are like the fun little
here.
Yeah, and the dolphins are like the fun little messengers. So now I call the whales the Abrahams of the sea and the dolphins the Esthers of the sea, because that's exactly how it was for me. And now that's why these teachings it fits right in with everything, and just opened it. The teachings of Abraham just took me to the next part, because how I felt after everything I learned, it's like I knew how to do it. I knew it worked. I knew how to follow my divine inner guidance, but I didn't really know the why it worked. It was like gravity.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of follow it because you do, and it's there. But I didn't really understand why. And that's why when I found the teachings of Abraham, it like blew everything out of the water for me, because it really explained to me the why. Like, I didn't know the whole vibrational part of it before. And I didn't, we say, I am God and we are one, and it's kind of like yada, 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 and you don't really think about that. But when I saw the secret behind the secret, that's when, like, I went, oh, my God, I am God. That's when I went, like, really, it, like, was the last piece of it for me, and put it all together. And, that's what I really want to teach people in this book is to follow their signs, because life isn't supposed to be hard. We have a path, and things happen, and you get these divine messages, and you follow them, and sometimes it still doesn't work. Like, for instance, when I still lived in California, I had this idea. I wanted an animal sanctuary, and I put the feelers out there, and, I really wanted it, and it didn't work out, and I was like, damn, I made my list. I did everything I usually do, and it didn't work out. And the reason it didn't work out is because, God, it's so much better than that. Like, way better. I'm in a way better, amazingly more better life than if I had done that. But that led me to other things. So your divine messages that you get that inspire you to do something, maybe it's not the end result, but like by wanting that sanctuary, I met certain people that led me to something else, and it's this path, and you follow it, and like when things don't, like right now, I'm in that delicious spot of what's next, because I closed my hotel now, and I have my foundation. And my plan was to make a marine conservation and research center here. But I have to tell you that, we've applied for a couple grants, and I put some feelers out there, and it's not flowing. It's not coming easy. And that's okay if I felt inspired to go for it, but I don't. So, this time, instead of going, you're lazy, you just don't want to do it, I'm going, no, you know what? You know why I'm not inspired? It's because I'm not inspired. It's because it's not the next step. There's something else.
Yeah.
I'm like learning how to do this,
Well, that's the whole, it's an art, which is what Abraham says. It's an art. Allowing is an art. It's a dance. It's like, it's how I see it, You live in a family, and nobody in your family dances, right? You are all believing that nobody in your family can dance. You decide that you want to be a dancer, and you're going to go out and you're going to learn how to dance. And you go to dance class, and at first, of course, you stumble and you fall down, and you see all these people and they're doing all these wonderful things and they're wonderful dances and they're gliding across the floor doing these waltzes or salsas or merengues, and you are stumbling. But you keep going to class, and then eventually you don't stumble as much. You come home and you're all excited, and your family and your friends say, "You know you can't dance. What are you doing? You don't know how to dance. We don't dance in our family." And so maybe you feel a little, a little out of it, but you have this fire inside of you, this desire to aspire to be something else. You keep going to your classes, you keep going, and you get better, and you get better, and you get better. And that is what art of allowing is. And the next thing you know, you're gliding across the floor just like everybody else doing the merengue and the salsa and all the waltz. And your family's looking at you and going, "How did you do that?" Or your friends are looking at you going, "How did you do that?" Because it takes practice. It's an art. The art of allowing is an art. And Abraham teaches you how to do that with your vibrations. Take the emotional journey first. That's the topic of our next hour.
Yeah,
so I agree with you.
Yeah, it's so true, and it's funny. I've really only studied Abraham for like 4 months now, and it's hard for me not to talk Abe speak now, just because the art of allowing, because they've really put into words what I've been trying to explain, because what you do is you look at people that have well-being and see what their thoughts are about things. Because, like, for instance, on the Abe forum that I just love, online, I asked people who are naturally thin, what are your thoughts about food? Because that's who people that have weight problems, that's what they want to emulate, right? And, it's like food is my friend. I can eat anything I want. It's a thought process. So it is the art of allowing and changing your thought process to emulate what it is that you want. And it was a funny discussion we had because, some people are good at making money, and some people are good at being thin, and some people are good at the relationships. Everybody has the thing that they're so-called born with that they just do naturally. You don't even think about it. And that's why, for my book, it's been good for me because I had to really concentrate on what was my train of thinking that allowed me to do all this stuff before I even knew, before I met Marilyn, before I heard about Abraham, I was a manifester. And what I came down to is I had an attitude of I won't settle for anything less than I'm worth it. And that's kind of what got me through before I consciously did it, and before I had some other pieces on how to control it, because certain things I could manifest, certain things I didn't, and I've really been trying to pinpoint my attitude, and I'm really interested to talk to other people. Like if you talk to Donald Trump and ask him what is your feelings about money, he's going to say money's like air, money's everywhere, money's easy, money flows, because he has that, so you want to emulate the people that have what you want, know, and in no way am I saying to want what other people want, and that's one of the things that people do.
Well, not in a jealous way.
Exactly is what I want to say.
Not in a jealous way.
Exactly, because what you want to do is when you see someone with well-being, is say good for you, because when you're jealous, you're saying that you're in a state of lack. You're saying there's not enough for everybody. You're saying you have it, I don't, there's not enough for me. So anytime you're jealous or feeling bad about somebody that has something that you want, you're putting attention on your lack. So that's another thing that I always had naturally, is I was never put off or felt bad about people that had money or that what they wanted. I always was like, cool, good for you. How'd you do that? Which is, a much better attitude than you jerk. You don't deserve that. Why don't I have it? Because then you're in a mentality of lack.
Right.
It's an art, like you said. It's a process. It's totally a process.
It's a dance. And the thing is that the art of allowing, which I love those words.
Yeah, me too.
The art of allowing is a little bit here, a little bit there. We have such a humongous vibrational escrow. And by that I mean everything that we ask for, as soon as we ask it, it's given. It doesn't look like it is sometimes because we can't see the manifestation immediately because we go right back into, well, I don't have it. But every time you ask for something, you're putting the thing, the experience, whatever it is, into this vibrational escrow. It's like Abraham says, shooting off these rockets of desires, and they go out, and your vibrational escrow just gets bigger and bigger until you align yourself with it.
Yeah, until you allow it, and it's not, it's really following. For me, everybody has a divine path, and there's several ways to go, and you can take a turn that way, and things get rough, and you fight it, and like with the animal sanctuary, I could have gone, I'm going to stick this out, I'm going to make it happen, and I probably could have, and I probably would have been in California for 10 more years, and maybe struggled through it, and then eventually made it to Costa Rica. I think you always end up where you're going, but it's kind of up to you if you want to make it easier on yourself, or you want to take the bumps along the road.
You want to do it the hard way, or you want to do it the easy
and
way.
for me, how my life has gone now that I can have words for it more, is it's kind of like, you get into bliss, and you're just like, wow, life's so good, and then contrast happens,
yes.
Right? Because you've got to have the contrast to know what bliss is. You can't. It can't just be woo-woo all the time, because you get bored of that too.
Well, this is what I say. If it was woo-woo all the time, then you wouldn't be here. You'd be in non-physical.
Exactly. I mean, contrast is necessary. So you get in the bliss, and like, I'll be in my most blissful moments, and something happens. Contrast. But then from the contrast, you expand. Your rockets of desire go out, you learn from it. So for me, it's bliss, contrast, expand. Bliss, contrast, expand. And it just kind of goes like that. And you can make it easy and fight those contrasts, or you can go, wow, this is what desire came out of me. This is what I learned from it. And this is what's next. And, it's that wonderment of what's next. And I'm kind of in that right now. And I have this affirmation that I say when I'm in this, and it's fun because I'm, there's all those stages of like getting the manifestation and living it, and then you always get to what's next eventually, and I'm in what's next right now, which is kind of fun because I haven't been in what's next for quite a while. And an affirmation I have is the divine path of my life is manifesting for me now, quickly and in peace. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that just kind of lets the universe know that I'm ready for what my next fork of my path is, and things happen, So I'm just like in this really open receiving mode right now to see what's next, because
I love what's next.
Yeah,
I'm in what's next.
Yeah, I do too. I was just thinking about that today. I was like, God, I've been in what is for so long, and this manifestation and getting here to Costa Rica and the dolphins and and it's been 10 years, and I'm in what next right now, and that's a really fun and exciting place to be. Whereas before, I was like stressed out when I was in what's next, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And but it's actually a really nice place to be, because it's the flow of life, and it's part of expansion.
Well, I like what you said about contrast, expanding, and bliss, contrast, expand. Because,
right.
If you think about your breath, we all love to breathe. But if you tried to suck up all the oxygen on the planet, your lungs would explode.
Right.
So you have to let it out in order for you to continue to function here on this physical plane. So too much of a good thing can kill you in a way. If you're sitting up here saying to yourself, oh, I have to get all the oxygen I can get. or I have to get all the money I can get. You know what? You got to let it out sometimes. And
Yeah,
so
for
that's the
sure.
contrast. You can't be breathing in all your life. You got to expand. Otherwise, guess what? The trees die, planet goes to hockey sticks in a basket, hell in a
Right.
handbasket.
Right.
So it's all good. Now let me ask you: you were 300. You were over 300 pounds.
Around there. Yeah. I look back and go, damn, girl, how'd you do that? But it's all good because it took me to where I am now.
Right.
And
Wow.
Well, you look great now.
well, thank you.
You look
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And through my path, what I really want to do is to inspire other people to follow their path, because life is supposed to be fun, and people are really hard on themselves. And like for instance,
Let me ask you something. When
yeah.
you were focusing on, when you decided that you could use the law of attraction to lose weight,
Yep.
because I did that for myself. I didn't have to lose as much weight, but I had to lose some poundage.
Yep.
And for me anyway, and for me to feel better about myself, just to be able to wear the clothes that I wanted to wear, to be able to move the way I wanted to move, I had to drop some pounds. But one of the things that I noticed for myself, and I'm asking you this because I wanted to know if you caught yourself doing that thing that you do when you're in the mindset that you're heavy. I used to pull on my clothes, like tug on my clothes.
Right.
When I would start to feel like uncomfortable, like if I was out and all of a sudden all of a sudden it would come to my mind, oh, you're too heavy to be wearing that. And I would start to pull on my clothes. I had this habit of tugging on my shirts or trying to cover up stuff. And I noticed that when I caught myself doing that, I had to really change my whole, literally change the action and change the thought that brought the action on.
Yeah, well, that's the major thing. When I really decided this time that I was going to lose weight, I had to change my thoughts on how I felt about food and how I felt about myself. And as far as food goes, you have to make friends with food. As long as you have a vibration that this is bad for me, and this, if I eat this, I'm going to get fat. You have to get looser about it. And like I said, studying thin people, they think their mindset is I can eat and it's not going to make me fat. And so I really pictured myself as being thin, and I had several little tricks that I did to do that. One of the things is always making sure I felt good in my clothes. I got rid of clothes as they got too big on me right away, and I did not let myself wear frumpy sweats and stuff like that. I ordered cute clothes on eBay. On eBay, you can get really cheap clothes. If you're losing weight, you're going through them really fast. But it's so important to feel good and to be happy where you are. Because if you're not happy and you're like, I want to be thin, but I'm fat, you're keeping yourself stuck in what is and not what you want. It's really important to start visualizing and feeling like you're going to feel when you're thin, already having it, picturing yourself thin, having those thoughts, and at the same time not putting your life on hold until you're thin. Right. Because everybody does that. Like when I'm thin, I'll be happy. When I have that guy, I'll be happy. When that happens, I'll be happy. And we all know you've got to be happy first.
Right.
You can't wait for that thing to happen to be happy. That's not how it works. That's not how a vibrational law of attraction-based universe works. It just doesn't. So you really have to concentrate on how you feel when you're thin and do things, get manicures and whatever it is for you.
Right.
Whatever it is for you to keep yourself feeling good as you're losing weight. And, and the other thing is like with exercise, I I hate like an hour of concentrated exercise watching a DVD. Like for other people, they love that. But for me, I just I suffer through it. I'm like watching the clock. I'm going, this sucks, So what I learned to do is find things that I really like to do, like, take walks along the beach. You know what my favorite thing to do is to get cardiovascular? I put on music and I dance around here with my macaws because they bop their heads and, because it's fun for me. And, like with weight training, I can't do like a half hour, boom, boom, pumping weights. But you know what? I do 5 minutes at a time. I do, I'm watching something on TV or I'm working on my computer. I get up, I pick up the weights. I do like 5 minutes. I feel good. I continue with what I'm doing. Then I'll get up another time. That's what works for me. I can't do like that hour, like I said, of concentrated, boom, I am exercising. But the other thing I do when I'm exercising is I'm visualizing my muscles. I'm visualizing my strong body. I make the best of every second that I do it, because what you're holding while you're doing it helps. And that's the same thing with food, which is another discussion that I've been having lately with the people on the ABE forum is, it's better to eat a piece of chocolate cake with joy than a carrot and hating it, because it doesn't work. And that's why diets don't work for people, because they're hating it. Like I eat almost all raw foods, and most people will feel totally deprived and suffering through that. For me, I love that. I love fruits. I love vegetables. For me, it's how I like to eat anyway. But that's why I don't want to stress like exactly what I did, because people will get stuck on that and it'll become the Sierra diet, and I don't want that. I really want people to search what works for them and
have you read Mark David's book, The Slow Down Diet?
No.
Great book. He talks about the same thing, and eating fast or sitting in front of the TV while you eat. And how to savor your food and taking breaths. We had him on the show.
Yeah.
And it was a real eye-opener for me. I mean, I had already dropped a lot of the weight that I wanted to drop, but there's like 10 more pounds that I wanted to lose. And it was easy. Well, I was already in the frame of mind anyway. So it was very easy, after reading. I didn't even get through, I think I got through chapter 6 because it's an 8-week plan.
Right.
And I got up to chapter 6, and that was it. I didn't have to go any further, but I have to finish reading the book. But it's just amazing, and he's talking about the times of day that you eat. It's not so much what you eat. It's not what you eat. It's never what you eat. It's what you're thinking about what it is. If you're feeling guilty about the food, that is what kind of sort of takes you out.
Absolutely, and I wrote about this in my book too, because what a lot of people, both overweight and thin people, do is they're not present while they're eating. So I actually, and I still do this because my mind's going a million miles a minute, and I'm thinking about the next thing I have to do, and I go up for lunch, and I'm still thinking, and I eat, but I'm still thinking, and then I'm done. I'm like, oh my God, where did my food just go? Because you're not present while you're eating, which is really it's a disrespect to your body and to the food that you're eating.
Well, it also has a literal physical thing that happens to your body, because your brain does not process the fact that you ate. And neither does your stomach. And what it does is it tells you that you're hungry if you're not present with your food. So you never feel full. Right,
exactly. So what I did while I was really working on this is I made myself a little card that I took up with me, and when I was eating with people, I was really embarrassed. So I didn't show it to anybody, but just knowing that I had it like in my hand or stuffed in my pants, and it said, number 1, stay present. Number 2, think about what you're eating. Number 3, slow down, enjoy your meal, and chew, chew, chew. 4, stop eating when you're full. And then, my big thing is, you're trained, there's starving kids in Africa, finish your plate. It's so funny that what we're, given as kids. So the number 5 is, I put a little quote, it is okay to leave food on my plate. Worms and bugs need food too. It will get eaten by something eventually. It doesn't have to be me, and that was my way of like letting go of that. There's starving kids in Africa thing, because I had this mentality that I had to finish everything on my plate, no matter how full I already was.
Right.
And it brings up listening to your body. Like, who did we, in our How to Be a Human handbook, which I call the HHH book, did it say you must eat 3 meals a day? Like, who made that? The dairy industry, the meat industry. If you really listen to your body, it's not 3 meals a day. It's maybe 5 or 6 small ones. When I really started listening to my body, I had totally different cravings. I knew when my menstrual cycle was coming. I knew it was going on my body. I craved different things at different times. I was hungry at different times, because you become intuitive with your body and in tune with your body, and that's a whole different thing than following a diet and going, I have lunch at, breakfast at this time, it's more of an intuitive weight loss, an intuitive way to eat.
Right. Girl, we could talk all night, couldn't we?
Yeah, because I had a lot of more things, I wanted to say.
And you were worried about talking for 2 hours.
Yeah.
She asked me, she said, I see your show is 2 hours. I don't know if I could talk that long.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I live here in the jungle with a bunch of animals, so I don't talk to many people. So, you get me started and I'm not going to shut up, because it's nice.
Well, there's some questions in the room, right, Diana? Were there questions for her?
There was earlier from Mad. Let me see.
Then we talked too much and they hung up.
No, you got a full room, sweetheart. A full house. Let's see.
Well, while we're waiting, I really want to talk to people about being inspired and following your inspiration. And when you get an inspired idea, to follow that, because when you're inspired, you're in spirit. That's a connection to source energy, is to be inspired. And that's the big difference between action and inspired action, because people, try to take action to make up for what's not happening. And when it's not happening, that's when you should go, okay, I'm supposed to do something else. But what people do is they go, I'm going to force it to happen, and that's action. And inspired action, like when you're inspired on a project, you'll, like the other night, I was into something on the internet. I was, inspired on something, and all of a sudden I looked and it was 1 a.m. I was like, whoa, that's inspired. But if I was like doing action, like I have to do this, I'm going to be like, oh God, I'm working till 1. It's a big difference when you're inspired and you're following an inspired idea and doing inspired actions, and when you're forcing things and when you're trying to make things happen. Like when I ask for things, I always say this or something better, because I think people get stuck on what they think they want, and I want this, and they have it in the box, and they're not allowing and opening themselves up to something even better. Because let me tell you, my life is way better than I ever dreamed it could be. I put Rockets of Desire out there about being with dolphins. I put Rockets of Desire out there about mango trees, about being with animals, about, over the years, I put out all these Rockets of Desire, and by being a person that allows and following inspired messages and ideas, it all came in one big package that was better than I could have ever imagined. So, that the thing is to not get stuck on something when it's not working, or just go, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, let the universe provide its magic to you is what I want to say, Well,
there's some questions here for you.
Go for it.
You got them, Diana?
Yeah. What about the practicality of being inspired, i.e. display boards, discipline structures, ticking boxes for the day? Do you follow any discipline structure at all?
Well, yeah. I mean, I have a way that I eat. I eat almost the same thing every day, because I actually don't get bored by that, and it's what works for me, and it's easy for me. And I'm structured as long as I'm structured. But the thing is, balance and not letting yourself feel deprived. Like, for instance, I eat mostly raw foods, but I went on vacation to California, and I ate like a pig. I let myself enjoy being on a vacation, and I think people should be allowed to gain 5 pounds when they're on vacation, because that's what thin people do. You know, it's all about not letting yourself feel deprived and finding that balance and not having such a issue about food. You know, just kind of letting it flow and following that. And, you know, I hope that's what he meant, because I'm not really sure.
We have another one for you. It's was it more like, okay, I want to lose this weight, and universe, God, give me a path or a sign to the best way for me to do this with as little effort and as much fun as possible. Then maybe you got spam in your inbox. People wouldn't tell you things. Books were made known to you, and on.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happened, because, you know, I made after this dolphin hit me in the chest in my dream or whatever it was, and I made the decision to lose weight. That's exactly what I wrote in my journal. Please, God, show me the fastest, easiest way how to do it. And that's exactly what happened. You know, the green tea came to me, goji berries, you know, it just came to me because I asked. You know, we all know asking it is given. I mean, that's what you do. Please show me the fastest, easiest path, the methods, the book, you know, because it's going to be different for everybody. You know, sure, I want everyone to buy my book, but my book, like I said, I'm not going to give specific diets and, you know, this is the way to lose weight, because, you know, what I'm going to try to do is set people on their path of their own way to lose weight.
Right. I think that's wonderful. I think they have to find their own way.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because, you know, what we're talking about is the vibration of food and what your beliefs are around it. You know, and if I tell people you've got to eat 10 carrots every day and they're hating that, they're going to be bored, they're going to be uninspired, and they're probably not going to lose weight either, because at the nighttime they're going to eat a box of cookies because they're feeling deprived and not joyful when they're eating, you know?
Right.
It's true. People that eat for comfort are not feeling joyful when they eat.
Right. Yeah, you know, it's like if you're craving a hamburger and you're craving it, and like, God, I can't do that. It's going to make me gain weight. I'm going to get fat. I can't do it. And then finally you give in and you eat it. And then the whole time you're eating it, you're feeling guilty and not enjoying it anyway. You know, what's the point in that? You know, if you're going to eat it and eat it joyfully and make friends with it and say, I love you and you are nourishing my body and I feel good doing this and everything I eat makes me thin, you know?
Right.
Delicious.
You are
another one,
babe.
Diane?
Yeah, Wendy said that's exactly what happened this morning. I put the thought out there that I was very ready for the inspiration to come to me today, and then I logged onto MySpace and saw this show tonight.
Oh, see now?
That's how it happens.
That's
how
it
happens. You ask, and it is given. The answer comes from somewhere, you know, and what inspires you, and you follow that. You know, that's why, you know, there's different modalities, like there's crystals and there's chiropractic, and, you know, everyone wants to say what's the right thing, and what the right thing is what calls to you.
What resonates with you, right? What vibrates you, what makes you feel good.
Absolutely, because if everybody wanted a red car, you know, if everybody wanted the same kind of doctor, you know what I mean? It would be what a boring world, and it's the variety and what calls to people that gives people jobs and inspiration and keeps the world balanced and perfect. You know, it's what calls to you, which, you know, brings up, like, number one things that I haven't said yet. Don't care what other people think. You know, that's probably the biggest thing for me, because I've always been one to not care but feel guilty about it. You know, and that's one of the things that Abraham gave me, because people have told me I'm selfish through my life because I do what I want to do. And Abraham finally let me feel okay to be selfish, because you know what? When people tell you they're selfish, you know what they're thinking? That you're not doing what they think you should be doing to make them feel good. So who's the selfish one, right? You know, it's like people want you to do what they think that you should be doing so that they feel good. And then if you don't, they call you selfish. And the thing is, by being selfish, whatever, and that word, I have to find a new one, but by caring about what I think and how I feel and following my path, I've gotten where I've gotten, and I don't feel bad for being selfish anymore. And
No,
that's
you're
been
self-aware.
really freeing.
It's selfish. The word selfish has so many connotations to it, just like the word money.
That's why I've got to find a new word.
I don't think so. I think you could just be selfish, because when you are focused on yourself and making yourself feel good, then everyone around you benefits.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And people feel guilty for feeling good, and people feel guilty for having money. But how can you truly help other people if you don't feel good, or if you want to give to the poor? Or is you being poor going to help the poor? No. It's like your success and your happiness and your example is the best thing you can do for other people.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you can check out Miss Sierra's website. Again, that's www.im-im-im.com. And you have a MySpace page back up, which is your MySpace page.
It's myspace.com/paralegal to paradise, one word.
Paralegal to paradise.
Yep.
See, I'm coming to the dolphin retreat with you, or something, whatever it is that you do, because I'm supposed to. I know this. My guides told me I'm supposed to go and have a meeting with them. So you're going to be the one that's going to take me.
All right. I'm all there. And another amazing synchronicity, Sydney, is like tonight is Rampage on Music Night, Rampage of Appreciation, because music is one of, my pivot things. And in fact, on the forum just about 2 weeks ago, I put up a rampage of appreciation for music. So I might just hold on and give you my rampage of music.
Please do. Please. We're gonna play some music, and we would love for you to join us stay with us for the second half, if you don't mind.
As long as the jungle phone holds out, I'm there.
All right now. Calling in from Costa Rica. We got another Costa Rican.
It's been great talking to you, Sydney.
It's so great to talk to you, and
thank
you
Diane
for sharing with us.
Thanks,
because you inspired so many people in this room tonight.
Yes, you
Good.
did.
I hope so.
Truly.
A lot of
truly. Because see, if you can do it, then everybody can do it.
And there's many thanks coming to you from the chat room.
Oh, yeah, and can you put me back in that blue room? Because I was visiting with my man there in my Vibrational Escrow.
You got to come play with us in Second Life. But anyway, I'm going to put you on mute for a little bit and then bring you back out.
Right on. Okay, Sydney and Diane, thank you so much.
We love you, Mama.
Thank you.
Love you too, babe.
All right. I love that gal.
That was awesome.
She's just delicious.
Yes, she was. And she did.
And he didn't have to prod her.
No, not at all. She did a great job. Everybody loves listening.